Hello children, hope you all are well at home. I, Mrs. Anjali Singh, is back again with the second chapter of history, that is Rise and Spread of Islam, its impact. Now, in the previous chapter, I explained you all that two religions were spreading in the medieval period, which had a far-reaching effects. These two religions were Christianity and another one was, yes, Islam. And crusades were fought. Crusades means holy wars were fought between them only to capture the Holy Land. The founder of Christianity was, come on children, was Jesus Christ. And the founder of Islam, do you know? Yes, he was Prophet Muhammad. Now in the chapter, the description is given about the other religion, that is Islam. The follower of Islam are called, yes, Muslims. Prophet Muhammad gave the name Islam on the basis of an Arabic word which means submission to God, or we can say surrendering to God. There is some similarity between Christianity and Islam. What is that? They both believe in the existence of one God, one and only supreme power. It became popular by the series of wars. Now this Islam was spreading and becoming popular just because of the crusades, right? Crusades fought by them and many people became influenced by Islam religion. Understood children? Okay. Now let us come to the another heading, that is pre-Islamic times. Pre means before. What happened before Islam religion came into existence? Now before Islam was founded, Arabs were divided into tribes or kabilas, which was led or headed by a chief. Now there are many kabilas. These chiefs emphasized on the clan system. Now children, what is clan system? It means a group of people all descended from a common ancestor. Common ancestor means father's or mother's side. Okay, from the father's side or from the mother's side, will live in a separate kabila. Means they will form one group and another ancestral group will form another kabila. So like this there were many kabilas. Now the people were nomadic. Nomadic means they moved from one place to another in search of food and fodder for their camels, right? And they were also known as Bedouins, right? So they were not under any, these kabilas were not under any authority. So these kabilas used to have, frequent fights among themselves. They had their own god or goddess which they kept in the shrine. Shrine is the holy and sacred place. Once a year, these warring tribes, which they used to fight with each other, these tribes or kabila would put aside their fights and differences and meet in the city of Mecca. Okay, Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. Okay, in Mecca, there is a black cube-like structure called Kaaba, which housed idols from all the tribes of Arabia. Once they used to go in a year and they used to take away their, idols and put it there. It is in the center of the Arabian religious life. It is the center. What is in the center? What is in the center? This religious place. Okay. Each tribe would make annual pilgrimage to the shrine. Now children, we come to another heading, that is early life of Prophet Muhammad. Prophet means chosen by God. Okay. So Prophet Muhammad was the last, you can say, or final prophet sent by God on this earth. Right? Many prophets came before Prophet Muhammad came, Jesus Christ came, and there were many, right? So Prophet Muhammad was born in about 570 AD in Mecca, a city where? In Arabia. It is the holiest place for the Muslims. Prophet Muhammad lost his parents during his childhood, so he was brought by his uncle. He lived a very hard life because he was not having parents with him. He was a thoughtful man, and he used to notice that people around him were ignorant. People were cruel. People were absurd. Absurd means they were disagreed. They were having a sort of disagreement with each other. They were harsh, right? And worshipped many gods and goddesses, right? They were having their idols, which I've explained to you about the pre-Islamic times, right? So he married, this was all in his mind, right? And then the description is about him that he married a widow named Khalida and started managing her business affairs. For business purpose, he used to go very far of places and used to meet variety of people and used to follow different customs, used to experience all about which was very far, and very soon he won the love and affection of many people living in Mecca. How? Because he was having some good principalities and practicalities in his life, and was, and he received the title of Alamin, means the faithful one. At the age of 40, he was meditating in a solitary cave. Solitary means where no one was there. He realized that there is only one God, and he also realized that God has chosen him as a prophet or a messenger. Now his popularity was increasing in Mecca, but some people were in favor of Prophet Muhammad, and some people were against him. Okay, so in 622 AD he migrated means moved to Medina. So he migrated from where to where? From Mecca to Medina. So this move from Mecca to Medina was called Hijrat. Understood, children? It was known as Hijrat. This move or migration marks, when he moved towards, Medina, that particular time was the beginning of the Muslim calendar, which was based on lunar. Lunar means it was based on moon, right? So this sort of calendar was called Hijri, right? So he became the religious head in Medina, and again he re-entered Mecca around 630 AD. You can see in the picture on the screen the picture of Medina, right? So he stayed there for some time, and then afterwards he went back to Mecca around 630 AD, and then he died in 632 AD. The holy book Quran contains his teachings, and it is a guide to religion. Okay, so the holy book of Muslims is the Quran. Okay, and what is there in the Quran? The teaching of Prophet Muhammad. Now let us do the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. Now the teachings are, precisely laid where? In the holy book of Muslims, that is the Quran. It is believed that Quran was recited. It was recited by whom? By the archangel. There is a word archangel in the book. Archangel means the head of the angels. Okay, and who was the head of the angels? His name was Gabriel. He was also a beautiful angel, right? So he recited Quran from the original copy which was in heaven to Prophet Muhammad to write on this earth. Okay, so there are many teachings given by Prophet Muhammad, and it's beautifully given in the book. The first one, Prophet Muhammad preached that there is only one God. Understood? Idol worship is a sin and advised the people to surrender to God. Okay, live an honest life and give alms. Alms means money, clothing or food to the poor, right? He believed in immortality of soul. Immortality means soul never dies, and preached that eternal happiness means the happiness forever. It means after death also is enjoyed by whom? By the faithful and righteous people. Okay? And faithless and evil people will be tortured in hell. Then gambling and drinking should be prohibited. It should not be practiced in the society, and not even in the homes. All are equal in the sight of God. Okay, so there were such beautiful teachings given by Prophet Muhammad, isn't it? Okay, now children, I come to the next topic, that is the 5 duties of a Muslim, the 5 pillars laid in the religion of Islam, right? So it is very important. It is laid down where in Quran it prescribes 5 duties for every Muslim to follow it, right? Now the first one is Iman, or faith in one God, that is Allah. In this, all Muslims must declare their faith by reciting what they should recite. There is only one God, and that God is Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. Understood? This declaration is called Shahada. So every Muslim has to say this Shahada. Understood, children? Then comes the second pillar, that is Salat or prayer. Every Muslim must pray 5 times in a day, isn't it? Before sunrise, right? That is Salat al-Fajr. Then this is the first prayer. Then second at noon, Salat al-Zuhr. In the late afternoon, the third, Salat al-Asr. Then the fourth one, at sunset, Salat al-Maghrib, and between sunset and midnight, Salat al-Isha. And while praying, the person must face the direction of Kaaba. The person should wash the face, hands and feet before praying, right? Cleanliness is very important, and place, that place also should be cleaned for doing prayer. Okay? Then comes the third one, that is Saum or fasting, isn't it? You can see on the screen. Every Muslim should fast from dawn to dusk in the month of Ramzan, which just now has passed, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. In this, the Muslim do not eat or drink while fasting. But people who are ill or not well or doing journey, if they are not able to fast, then they can do it afterwards. Okay? Then comes Zakat or self-purification. Muslims are expected to give alms. Okay? Means money, food, clothes for charity, those who are really in need. They donate a part of their income for the good of the what? Entire Muslim community. By doing this act, they purify themselves. Understood, children? Then comes the last one, that is Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca. Now this is the 5th pillar. In this, each Muslim who is financially and physically able or strong is expected at least once in his lifetime to make the pilgrimage to Mecca and participate in prescribed religious rites performed at various places. Then they go to Medina, which is located far on the farther northern side. Prophet Muhammad spent most of his life here and died here in 632 AD. Understood, children? Okay. Now comes the spread of Islam. Before the death of Prophet Muhammad, he became the political and religious leader of whole of Arabia. Okay? Understood? His successors means what? Have you ever heard this word, successors? Yes. The next person in order to take up the work. Okay? So, his successors were known as caliphs or khalifas. Now these caliphs became the political and religious leader of the Muslim community, but after the death of Prophet Muhammad. Understood? Now children, I will show you the map in which you can see clearly, right, that orange part, the darker part, that maybe is brown color, right? Now it is that area where Prophet Muhammad spread Islam. That much was the part, right? But after his death, his caliphs, his successors, his first four caliphs, they spread throughout, which is shown with orange color, little bit lighter than the brown color. Are you getting my point, children? Right? So this was a spread done by whom? The first four caliphs. Understood, children? Then I will, afterwards explain you about the dynasties, that there were Muslim dynasties, the Umayyad dynasties and Abbasid dynasty. So they also spread Islam, which is shown with purple color. Okay, so they are spreading towards, the left side, or you can say the western side, and some of the area they covered on the eastern side. Right? But as we can see that Prophet Muhammad, he influenced the people, those who were found near to the dark brown area. Understood, children? And then afterwards his first four caliphs, the names of the caliphs were Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman and Ali. They used to, accompany Prophet Muhammad and used to learn a lot in his company, right? So they also spread Islam after the death of Prophet Muhammad, right? So the first two caliphs, they were Abu Bakr and Umar. They spread Islam beyond Arabia. Now, Arabia is the brown part, right? And now you can see here that they spread it where? In Iraq, right? Iran, that is in Persia. Then you can see Jordan. Then you can see Lebanon. I have, circled the names, right? Palestine, which is near to Jerusalem, right? Jerusalem is there only. Then Turkey, right? Right on the top. And then Spain. Can you see? Yeah. Understood? So these were the places where the first two caliphs, spread out Islam. Understood, children? Okay. However, the other two caliphs, Uthman and Ali, were having succession dispute. They were having some sort of fight. And disputes means who will have the power to become the leader. This was the thing, right? Afterwards, as the fight was going on amongst them, these two caliphs, Ali was murdered and later on his son was also murdered. Understood, children? The Muslim community split then into two sects, right? One was Shia, another one was Sunni. Now Shias believed Ali as the successor of Prophet Muhammad, right? Who believed? Who? Yes, Shias, they believed, right? As Ali belonged from the Prophet's family, so they said, okay, now he is the main head or the successor. And on the other side, Sunnis believed that a caliph should be chosen by whole community. Whoever the person is right for that, seat, that person should be chosen as a caliph. The caliph helped the Muslim armies to conquer more of the countries, right, in Western Asia. And then they reached where? To the Western Europe across Mediterranean Sea, right? They defeated many tribes like Goths in Spain. In 732 AD, they fought the Battle of Tours, but they were defeated back to Spain, and Europe was saved from the Muslim dominance, right? So a little bit part of Spain was captured by the Muslims, right? Only one nation of Europe, what is that? Spain, that remained under the authority of Muslims, right, till 1492. But Muslim empire spread to a vast area covering many countries of Western Asia, North Africa and Spain also, right? Now let us come to caliphs. Abu Bakr succeeded Prophet Muhammad as the caliph after his, yes, after his death. Whose death? Prophet Muhammad's death. Umar, Uthman and Ali were the successors of Abu Bakr. It means Abu Bakr was heading, right, and he was followed by Umar, Uthman and Ali. So the caliphs ruled from 632 AD, that is the death of the Prophet Muhammad, to 661 AD. Understood, children? So from 632 AD, from here till 661 AD was the time of caliphs. Okay. Now came the Muslim dynasties, right, who ruled after 661 AD. Right? Muslim dynasties means it was a unified Islamic government for the Muslim world, right? And it was ruled by a caliph, right? So the first one was Umayyad dynasty, right? And the second one was Abbasid dynasty. So let us take up the Umayyad dynasty. So they ruled, there were rulers in it, right? They ruled from 661 AD to 750 AD, right? From Damascus. Damascus was the capital from where they used to rule, right? Earlier, the ruling capital was Medina, right? But they were shifted to Damascus. They shifted and made Damascus as their final area for their kingship. They conquered. Who conquered? Umayyad's dynasty, these rulers. They conquered Spain in 715 AD. Then they further extended their empire in France and Sindh. Understood? In the east, they controlled the territory of Samarkand along the Mediterranean coast. Understood? Then comes the Abbasid dynasty. This dynasty belonged to the Shia sect. Right? They were the descendants of the paternal uncle. Paternal uncle means from the father's side. Okay? Uncle who belonged from the father's side of Prophet Muhammad. So this dynasty overthrew the Umayyads in 750 AD. They made their ruling capital at Baghdad. Understood? Earlier in Umayyad dynasty, they made their capital where? In Damascus. Right? Shifting from Medina. Right? And now they also shifted the capital from Damascus to Baghdad. Understood? Harun al-Rashid was the famous ruler of this dynasty. During his kingship, art, culture, science and literature flourished. Greek, Indian and Chinese authors, their work were translated in Arabic language. Okay, so the Arabs learned a lot from the Indians about science, mathematics, etc. I hope, children, you people are following. Okay, then comes the another heading, that is decline of the caliphate and the emergence of the Turkish Muslim rule. Now, as these two dynasties ruled, right, now there came the time when this dynasty also ended. Now, the Abbasid Caliphate came to its end and Arab territories were ruled by many new rulers. Now, these rulers were recruited, from Turkey. Recruited means employed. Why they were employed, from Turkey? Because they were very physically strong and powerful. And they came from Turkey, means from Central Asia, as soldiers, and they were given and they were recruited like for the place of soldiers, like governors. So some of these Turkish governors established their own state and started ruling. They had the titles like Amir or Sultan, and they started conquering Middle East because what they got in their hands? Power. Right? So they started conquering Middle East and Asia Minor, which is now, Turkey, that area too. Then they reached to Afghanistan, And then they raided India too. Do you remember? I told you about Muhammad Ghori, right? He also invaded our country. Now, as these Turks were becoming strong in, every region, every area, right? They were chosen by whom? By the dynasties only, right? So they established their Ottoman Empire, means particular Turkish Empire, Ottoman Empire. They conquered Constantine. Constantine was, it came into end when? In 1453. Do you remember, children? 1453. And it was renamed as Istanbul. Okay. Then Arab traders dominated the trade routes from the Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf is there in the map, right? And Persia, Central Asia and parts of subcontinents were under their political control. When? Between 7th and 10th century. So it traded through the Silk Route, which connected China to India, Middle East and the Mediterranean Sea. So this was the area, Silk Route. Okay. Christians conducted crusades because Palestine was under Muslim rule, but they failed. Fine. Spain was under the Muslim rule as it was the part of Europe, right? So Europeans expelled Muslims from Spain and ended their control on the sea trade routes, right? You know that Europeans were the first one to have trade from sea, and they discovered many sea routes. Europeans gained monopoly, means power or control over the sea trade, and discovered many new sea routes for the trading. Okay, children, have you understood? Fine. Now let us come to the another heading, that is Muslim contribution to the culture of Europe. Understood? Now, Muslim culture and civilization was spreading in Western Asia, Egypt and Spain due to the expansion of Muslim empire in these places, right? So what was spreading? Islam was spreading, the culture and civilization was spreading, right? And the Muslim scholars developed various centers of higher education also, like universities in Basra and Baghdad, where it is? In Iraq. Then Cairo and Alexandria. There were some important universities in these places, which is in Egypt. Then there was Cordova in Spain. Many students from Germany and France studied in these universities. Understood, children? Then afterwards, as they were sharing their knowledge, Muslim scholars taught various subjects like mathematics, physics, chemistry, medicine, astronomy and astrology, right? In these institutions which they established, which I just now told you, in Basra, in Baghdad, in Cairo, Alexandria, Cordova, there they used to teach, right? Apart from this, the Arab traders created link between the eastern and the western countries. Now children, we are studying about the contribution. They contributed a lot in the field of education. They contributed a lot in the field of trade. Okay, Arabs, they traded with India, China, Europe, East and West Asia. So West Africa. So there was intermingling of different cultures. Intermingling means mixture, as they were going and visiting the other places and other people were coming to their places. So what was exchanged? What was intermingled? Culture. Okay. Muslims during Abbasid rule were interested in education and learning. So they built House of Wisdom in Baghdad. You can see on the screen, right? The major works of the Persians, the Greeks and the Indians were translated in Arabic, into Arabic language, because they were so keen to know about different subjects. The Crusades were going on, furthermore led to the intermingling of the Arab and the European culture. Now in the 13th and 14th century, many universities were established in different countries of Europe, like Paris, in France, There was many universities in Bologna, which is in Italy, then in Constantinople in Eastern Roman Empire, then in Saxony, which is in Germany, and Oxford University, which is in England. Understood, children? Okay, so this was the contribution, but still we are not on the end. Now comes the science. The churches were, as science was growing, the knowledge was growing, the churches were cautious. They were very cautious of science education. You know that science is spreading everywhere and people are knowing about science and they will believe less in the faith of God, right? However, Muslim scholars built laboratories in this period where many science subjects like physics, chemistry and medicine were taught. This system was named as Unani system. Understood, children? Now, Ibn Sina and Al-Razi were great Arab scientists and physicians. Ibn Sina wrote an encyclopedia of medicine in 5 books, called Al-Qanun, or the Canon of Medicine. And the next thing, many new chemical compounds were discovered by the Arabs. Understood? Now comes mathematics. Al-Biruni was a famous astronomer. He was from Italy. He was an astronomer and mathematician too, right? Astronomer and mathematician. And Omar Khayyam was also a great mathematician. Understood? Now, they introduced European mathematicians to learn something. What was introduced? They introduced a sort of, mathematics which was learnt by Europeans, right? So, European mathematicians learned what? Arabic numerals. 1, 2, 3 as we write, right? And it was replaced by the Roman clumsy numbers. That is first, second, third as we write 1 and then 2 lines for second and then 3 lines for third. Understood, children? So, it was replaced with that. Then comes literature. Number of books were, introduced at that time, published, produced at that moment. Rubaiyat, book of poetry. The Arabian Nights, Arabian Nights, maybe you must be interested in seeing in the TV, right? The evergreen tales of adventure and Shahnama, which was written by Firdausi, were some of the most famous work at the time when Muslim were spreading, when Islam religion was spreading. Okay, then comes Islamic art. Islamic art was mainly a combination of different elements like abstract, which cannot be seen but can be felt, decorative features with portrayal of geometric, floral and calligraphic designs. Calligraphy, the art of writing with different type of pen, right? And it is beautifully written on the designing or on the curves, as you can see in the picture, the detail of arabesque decoration. In this you can see some Arabics written, right? Geometrical pattern is also found there. Floral pattern is also found in it. Understood, children? Then comes the heading India and the Arabs. It is very important, right? Islam first came to India through the Arab traders. These people settled in the Malabar coast of Kerala. Kerala, which is on the western side, right? So that was the part. These Arabic, Arab traders, they came and settled down. Okay, and they received the help of the local Indian rulers. They also helped, they invited, they were warmly welcomed by the Indian rulers. Then Qutbuddin Aibak, you will come to know, we will study about Qutbuddin Aibak also, right? He became the first Muslim ruler of India in 1206 AD. Then caliphs like Harun al-Rashid, he was the ruler, and Al-Mamun encouraged the study of Indian arts, science and literature. Then you know about Panchtantra, that was translated from Persian into the Arabic language. Understood, children? Then Arab people respected Indian culture. They respected a lot They learned a lot from Indians, right? And in change, Indians also learned a lot from them. Many medical treatises like Sushruta and Charaka were translated. Now, this medical treatise means the people they have written the name, that is Sushruta and Charaka. Sushruta was an ancient Indian physician. You can say he was a surgeon. When? At the ancient time. I'm not talking about the present time surgeon, right? Ancient time, who pioneered and invented different techniques of operation and surgeries, right? So it was done when? In the ancient times. By whom? Sushruta. Then Charaka is written there. Charak was one of the contributor of Ayurveda. He is known as the father of medicine in India. So the books based on them, that was also translated into Arabic, right? Now, Indian astronomy also greatly influenced the Arab people, right? Astronomy is what? Yes, study about planets, right? And heavenly bodies. So various Indian books like Varamihira and Aryabhat, they were the people. Right now, the books which were basically about them, about Varamihir and Aryabhat, they were also translated. These books were also translated into Arabic by them. Varamihir was also an astronomer and a mathematician, and Aryabhat on the other side was also a mathematician and an astronomer. Right? And why they were so much famous? Because the decimal system and the concept of zero, which you are using in your mathematics, was borrowed, these things were introduced by them only, right? And it was all borrowed by the Arabs from India only. Okay, now here I come to the end of the second chapter. I hope you all have understood, children. Maybe if you haven't read the chapter, you won't be able to understand, right? So for you, it is very important to read the chapter. If you have the book, very good. Otherwise, the pictures are there on the website. Read it, children. And don't forget to highlight the lines which are important. There are so many things given there, so much important, which is you will not find in the recapitulation box. So you need to underline, okay? So read the chapter many times, listen to my video and see the pictures many times as possible, right? And then afterwards, I'm confirmed that you will be able to understand. Okay, children, and very soon I will send you the question answers and the exercises also, right? As I have sent the question answers and exercises to you, children, please do the question answers long and short in your copies, right? But exercises have to be done in the book only. Okay, children. So again, once again, a reminder that you just write down very neatly and beautifully in your history copy. The work should be done very neatly, okay? And then afterwards, you just do the exercises in your book when I will send you. Is that very clear? So take care of yourself, children. God bless you and thank you.